We live, y'all. I feel like I sound so southern now. Sometimes it just, yeah. I don't know how that happened, but it is what it is at this point. How you
I
doing, Sean?
mean,
It's been weeks.
when the South is in you, it's in you. That's all it is.
Listen, this is that Birmingham. I did not sound like this until I moved here, and it took a few years, right? It took a few years. I've been here 12 years now. It took a few years, but now I hear it, and I'm like, oh, I don't like I don't like it. But anyway, how you doing? It's been a few weeks. We've been on
Yeah,
sabbatical.
yeah. It's been a couple of weeks, but I'm hanging in there. I'm still, thriving. So, that's all you could ask for. But I'm glad to be back.
Hey, yes. So I will address because I did have some people's like, what the fuck y'all at? Y'all my regular entertainment on Tuesdays. So I did want to say we took a sabbatical because I had a medical emergency pop up, like all of us literally, all of a sudden end up in the hospital. And yeah, I almost wasn't here. That's all I can really say is I almost wasn't here. And I didn't talk about it openly. I shared a little bit. Um, and I started realizing how it affects the people around you. So I said I would just
Mhm.
address it here because I I was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and she was like, "I hope you're feeling better. Did you have the flu?" And I was like, no." So long story short, I went in for a simple outpatient procedure at the hospital to do some biopsies, and they ended up giving me an infection.
Mm.
Uh, that was on Friday, what, 3 weeks ago? And so by that weekend, I was a little tired, but by Monday, I thought I was good. Like ran errands, went for a walk, did my whole usual. And then by Monday afternoon, I went downhill fast. And it was to the point like I literally called a friend of mine who was a nurse. And by the time I got on the phone with her, she said I was pretty delirious. I don't even remember half the conversation. But thankfully, I did call her because I was about to lay down and just take a nap, thinking, okay, I'll feel better later. And Spirit just kept whispering in my ear, no, call her, call her. And now I understand because she was intervening to save my life. Like,
Hmm.
no, you need to call 911. I can't get you 911. And because I was fading, um, we looped in another friend of mine to try to get to the house as EMS was coming. And they got me to the emergency room. And so I was in the hospital for a week. I'm still here. Hey, and been recuperating the past few weeks. But it hit me when I was talking to my client yesterday, and she was like, "Oh, so what happened?" And I shared some minimal details with her, and she was like, "I am really glad you did not die." And I was like, "Me
Hmm.
too." you know,
Exactly.
and my friends have been sharing the same thing. Is you never really think. You always think in terms of how you are affected by a circumstance, but you don't always have space to think about how the people that you love are affected by a circumstance. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just starting it there just to, for awareness. We didn't disappear on you guys. We love y'all. We faithful. Okay. We be ready to go on Tuesdays, but life intervened and I just didn't have it. I was looking real crusty about the face and pale and ghostly looking and no. so,
Well, we
so
are glad you made it and that you're here. And,
listen.
we need you to be here.
Yes, because we got things to talk about. You feel me? So I am thankful to be here. And it's just a reminder of, life is fragile. We think we have all this time and that can really be gone in the blink of an eye. And thankfully, I'm still here. And I believe it's because I got shit to do, not only for other people, but for me to receive and experience too, the reciprocity of that. So I just want to encourage anybody, I remember that if you don't feel well, I know that we as Black women and Black men, but I'm speaking for Black women because I am one. I know that we feel like we got to be strong all the time. And that was a reminder, stop being fucking strong because I have a high tolerance for pain. And so I was dismissing it like, I don't feel good, but I think I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And I could have woke up dead Tuesday morning. I mean, yeah, Tuesday morning. a couple of weeks ago. Glad I didn't. But
Yeah.
stop strong. Ask for help. Let the people that you love support you. Like my my people came through. Like I had somebody here at the house taking care of the dogs. I was at another friend's house recuperating so I could just sleep and rest and do nothing. Like my community has been on it. And that's one of the reasons I preach not only loving yourself, but letting other people love you. You know what I'm saying? And the value of friendships and having amazing people in your life. So if you ain't got it, work on that shit so you can have it. Okay. Um, and and making sure that you have people that will see about you because they were in the hospital every day. They was like, they gonna know you got people that's gonna see them if they don't do right by you. And I was like, love that. So that's the other thing. You know, when you're navigating the medical system, make sure that you got people that's gonna see about you, show up, show their faces, ask questions. And this is the other thing, I guess I'll throw out there. One of the things I experienced was I was literally begging for pain medicine. Like I was dehydrated. They were running antibiotics 24/7 in an IV and giving me shots every few hours of antibiotics. Like it was bad. And so I was dehydrated and they were running fluids, but my whole body was just clenching and spasming and like
Mm-hmm.
tightening on itself. And it was excruciating. And again, I have a high tolerance for pain. So by the time I say I need some pain medicine, I feel like my whole body is on fire, you know. And doctors kept calling in like one dose and they were giving me the lowest dosage available of whatever pain medicine they were giving me. And what happened is they asked me, I'm allergic to something. They don't know exactly which one it is, but something in between Vicodin and Valium. So they've always told me to say both. And so that's a lot of the pain medicines are cousins of that. So they gave me Dilaudid or something. Yeah, I think that's it, Dilaudid. Well, I reacted to it. Even though I told them I was allergic, they gave it to me and I reacted. So they stopped all pain medicine. And the doctor left on his shift and went home and there was nothing in the system. So in the middle of the night, I was like, I'm in pain. And the nurse dead face looked at me and was like, well, they don't have anything in your chart. Bitch, I know like fucking hell. You know how to pick up a phone. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you're sick, you need the staff to advocate for you. And she deadpan looked at me and was like, I mean, it's nothing in your chart.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that because most of the time the nurses are better than the doctors when it comes to
Yes.
patient care. So I'm really surprised that
Yes.
she acted that way.
Oh, it was insane. When my next nurse came back on shift, I said something to her and she was like, we're going to fix this. So she stayed on it. Sad part is, though, she kept having to push. And then by the time her shift was over there, it gave me like one dose through IV, I think morphine or something. But again, they were calling in one-time doses at the lowest doses possible. So after a couple of days, I said, oh, okay. So tell you what, I'm going to figure out how to file a complaint. And
Mm-hmm.
some of my family had come up there, some of my people, they started going to the nurses station, like, who we need to call. And that got the doctor to my room, like, oh, okay, what's going on? Oh, no problem. And then they put something on call as needed for me to get it every few hours. But the crazy part is, why am I damn near dying and I got to keep screaming at y'all and showing my ass? You get what I'm saying? Like I can't even be in the bed calm and resting because I got a battle with you all. And so this is another reason why it's so important to hey sure, this is so important. This is the reason why it's so important to advocate for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't, a lot of the times nurses get burned out. A lot of the times they're tired, they're exhausted, they may be overworked, they may be down in staff, so they have more patients than they're used to. Like it's a lot of different reasons, but that doesn't excuse making sure that you give your 100 to every patient because you are there to advocate. You know what I'm saying? So this is my reminder, not getting on my soapbox, but getting off of it. This is my reminder to make sure that you all remember to advocate for yourself, because if you don't, sometimes it's the difference in life and death. You said that's how they see us as a Black woman managing pain management. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I don't know if it's because they're so afraid because of the opioid epidemic right now. You know, everybody's afraid, but that doesn't mean that you get a free pass in advocating and listening to the patient that you're talking to, not reacting because the last patient may have been drug seeking or you thought they were drug seeking or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's different. Um,
Yeah, and see
so
that's the thing because to Cher's point, they see, especially black women as, y'all don't feel pain. And so that the medical, community looks at it like that, and have looked at it like that for a long time.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
yeah, so it does take a lot to get that.
And the crazy part is, I think we have unintentionally reinforced it, right? First of all, that thought process is dumb as fucking ignorant. But
Mm-hmm.
I think we have unintentionally reinforced it because we are resilient, because we are strong, because we are potent, powerful, whatever you want to call it. We are all these things, right? And a lot of the times we make shit happen, even when we're in pain, even when we're tired, even when we're exhausted, even when we're whatever, we make shit happen. And I've been guilty of that. Like I said, I had to recognize that I've waited so long in multiple situations to go address something because I got stuff to do. Like I run a business, whether you're married or you have kids or you're in a relationship, like you have all these things that are demanding your attention. And so when those things aren't demanding your attention, sometimes you just want to rest, you just want to sleep, you just want to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so I thought we've unintentionally reinforced that stereotype of we don't feel pain because we know how to soldier through. No, we feel it. We just ain't had no choice. We can't be weak. And so that's one of the things I've been working on is, nah, fuck, I want to be weak. I don't want to be strong no more. Listen, I ain't got it. I'm
I
done.
feel
You
you. I feel you.
know what I'm saying?
And
Um,
it's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, look, they be weak. Let
Listen,
people know.
I told dude today, I was like, listen, I want to be a passenger princess again. I don't like driving. I mean, you realize that you're trying to be superwoman or superman and do all the things, and unintentionally we reinforce the ignorance that a lot of people operate with because they see us handle it and fix it. Whereas a lot of times they may have had an opportunity to rest and have family support or trust funds or benefits on their job or whatever the case may be, to take that time and rest, be off work, be on sabbatical, do nothing, have a maid, have a cook, have a whatever. We have not always had that. And even those that have had it sometimes are on the edge of not being able to maintain it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not gonna play into that bullshit stereotype that every black person is broke. That's a lie. There are plenty of wealthy black people. We just don't always see them represented in the media. But for the average person, we have been taught, get over it, figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't got time to be sick. I can't take off work. You finna go to daycare. You finna go to kindergarten. You finna go to school. Get your ass up. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And so I think I hope that we're changing the narrative even on that. I hope that we're changing the narrative even in our conversations on this podcast and in all the conversations that I see happening in other people's spaces and in relationships. Like we are holding ourselves accountable to change that narrative. First of all, fuck the other people, but that we are changing it for ourselves.
And that's part of the problem with changing it for ourselves, because you got so many that feed into these stereotypes that they think this is how things are supposed to be, instead of thinking for themselves and making their own decisions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that kind of, it hurts, but yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think the best way to put this, but at the end of the day, fuck it. I mean, all this material bullshit that a lot of people be into, that ain't done. That the only reason that's set up like that is just to keep us down. So if they can keep us down economically, they can keep us down educational wise. If they can definitely split the black family apart, so they keep us
Mm-hmm.
down, like we can't even be in relationships with each other no more, because they force feed all this bullshit Like
Yeah.
as a woman, you're supposed to expect this from a man. As a man, you're supposed to expect this from a woman, and that's all bullshit. But we feed into it.
I think so. I find it interesting, and I would love your take on this. And I know, guys, that we said we were going to talk about DEIA tonight. Let me just throw this out here. I'm mentally exhausted. Sean, I'm gonna let you speak for yourself. I am mentally exhausted. Like my nervous system is fucking shot with 2025 already, just with all the things. So if Gypsy gets a chance to join us tonight, because it was the thing she wanted to talk about, we will gladly go into it and let her spearhead that. But if she's not able to join us, Sean, you good? We're not diving into that right now.
Hey, I'm how the kids say nowadays, I'm Gucci.
So yeah, so we just gonna shoot the shit and talk about whatever comes up. But that being said, I actually find this interesting, and I would love your take on this, Sean. So I noticed that I've had similar conversations with quite a few Black men. Now let me give context. Um, Black men who are financially well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, age range 36 to maybe 50, either early retired because they've done well enough financially, or like could do what they want, like good, right? Attractive, like great on paper, right? They have all the attributes. They can get whoever, whatever, whenever, right? So I noticed that there's a similarity in the conversations that I've had with them as we talk and, things come up. Well, because women outnumber men. So, women don't have as many options as men. If things don't work out with me and her, I can replace her tomorrow. But how long is it going to take her to find somebody else? And when I hear them talking like that, I'm like, yo, do you think that's every woman's reality? Because you sound real silly right now. You do recognize that every woman ain't out here thirst trapping for a man, shaking ass or twerking or doing whatever on social media to get a man. You do realize that there are some of us that walk out the house and get hit on by quality men, not low vibe men that just want to fuck or just looking for a pussy to accidentally fall in. Like there are some of us that genuinely meet high quality, high value, to use the terms people are using, right? Men that are good, masculine energy, safe, protective, whatever that woman may be looking for type men. And whenever I engage in these conversations with them, response is always, yeah, but you're the anomaly. You're not representing every woman. And I'm like, okay, so I would love your take on it, because I agree with you. Like society has caused this wedge between us as Black men and women in our family, in our dynamic, in our relationship, in everything in our community. And I feel like that's part of what's being regurgitated by these guys.
It is, because that's some BS if they sitting there saying that. I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, being a guy, yeah, it's easier to replace her. Now I can't speak from a woman's point of view, but being a man, because the women are so plentiful. Yes, of course, is it. But what quality is that you? Because I mean, yeah, I could run out right now and go outside and find somebody, but what quality is that going to be?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's not something that you should really be looking for. I mean, and honestly, and that, see, you done open up a rabbit hole, because that's a whole
Go
thing,
for
man.
it.
It's a whole thing that a lot of men don't do, because no, we weren't taught that, because most men were grew up in toxic masculinity. So
Mm-hmm.
because when you was a kid, all your older men would be like, how many girlfriends you got?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, are you hitting those books? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? It's how many girlfriends you got? You playing sports, and it was everything that's supposed to be the rah rah rah, be a man, but it was nothing about the emotional side being
Mm-hmm.
being taught by men. And I mean, the most emotion you got was men don't cry, so you had to bottle everything up. So that plays a part into it. Then it also, what type of female role models that they have in their lives, which a lot of
Mm.
men don't even think about, Because if your mother was that kind of mother that was a quote unquote helicopter mom that spoils you, and my child can never do no wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
the kid was dead wrong, but they was always showing up to be there to say, not my kid. No, he ain't do that. And so then he grows up with this certain kind of air of entitlement about himself. Or you got the flip side where you had that mom that just didn't care about him.
Yeah,
And so now he's looking for somebody to fill that mom role.
I got you.
So it's a lot of different emotional things that go on with men that men don't want to confront or deal with, that affects how they act in those relationships. And those are the things that leads him being like, oh, I can replace her tomorrow. But if you're a real man, first of all, you're not trying to replace it tomorrow. You trying to get yourself straight to make sure that when you are ready to actually be with someone, that it's going to be something real, something that you could build on, and something that you're both going to be happy with for the rest of
Yeah.
your life. You're not just looking for somebody to sleep with. You're not just looking for somebody to hang out with. Because when you just looking for somebody to sleep with and somebody to hang out with, you're not ready to be in a relationship, and you should be telling them that up front so they can make the proper decisions to say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
either I'm gonna deal with this or I'm not gonna deal with this.
Yeah.
Now the only drawback to that is it'd be a lot of women that be like, yeah, that's cool, we could be friends with benefits, and then 3 months later they like, where are we going with this? Like, hold on, we already discussed this. Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
You
I mean, I
know,
think you're making some good points, and so I got a couple of questions. I'm trying to synthesize it. People texting me, y'all do better. Like, I love y'all. Get your asses in here in the comments. Stop texting me, because then I'll be distracted, and yeah, work with me, help y'all. But I'm trying to synthesize. So the general is, what are your, okay, I was trying to make sure I was gonna say this right. So the general, because I got 3 questions that came in. What is your thought as a man on what women can look for as they are engaging with men to see, either, I guess, because they said red flags. I feel like a lot of the red flags are obvious. We just ignore them. So I'm going to say peach flag. What is your consensus on flags that may not be clear, that could go either way, that women can be aware of to say, nah, maybe I need to bow out, or, maybe this is worth a chance to have deeper communication or whatever.
and see
Okay.
that's the thing.
That next.
That's the thing though, because a red flag to me may not be a red flag to someone else.
Facts.
And so with anybody, it doesn't matter, male, female, it is, what are you willing to accept
Ooh,
about that
that's a good
person?
one. Yeah.
That's what it is what are you willing to accept this? And if so, then that's just what it is. You accept it and y'all move forward, however, whatever that looks like. Uh,
I agree with you.
so I
I agree
can't
with
really say this is a red flag or that's a red flag, because what I might find a red flag, you might not find a red flag. You might be like, oh,
you.
that's nothing.
Facts. Well, and that's why I said I was going to change the color to peach, because I feel like when we say red flags, whatever we determine that flag is, most times we can look back, if we honest, most times we can look back and be like, I saw that. I just decided at that time that I could change it, or it was going to get better, or whatever the case may be, right? Or we thought we could deal with it, to use your point, and then we realized don't want to deal with it.
Exactly.
So I think a big, and I'll add my 2 cents to it to say, I think a big part of it is just being honest with yourself. I feel like we as women, and I promise y'all, I just had this conversation with somebody Sunday. We as women date and marry based on potential, what we see him to be capable of, what we see him to have the potential to do once he gets here, wherever that here may be. And there are some men that women get with and they fulfill that potential, they step in it, they operate in it, they kill it. And there are some men that will never go any further than where they are right in that moment, right? And so I'm a big advocate for don't date or marry based on where you think they're going to go. You got to look at them right there, right where they are, and ask yourself, if this person never changes, if they never do anything different, can I accept them? Can I love them? Can I honor them right where they are? And if your answer is no, skip your ass on to the next. Because we as women, I can't talk about men because I ain't no man, but we as women have to stop marrying what we think he will become, because that's how a lot of women end up angry and bitter, right? You thought going to do this, you thought he was going to become this, you thought he was going to change that behavior or treat you. No sis, if he's talking to you crazy now, he going to talk to you crazy then. If he's rude and disrespectful or aggressive or abusive now, he's going to be whooping your ass 20 years from now till he get fucking tired or die. You know what I'm saying? If he's a hoe and he's community dick, he's going to be that 5, 10 years, 20 years from now, unless he wants to change. Like, whatever it is, if you cannot accept them right where they are, then make your best decision on whether you can deal with it or walk home. Like, I feel like that would stop a lot of the BS.
It would, but a lot of people, they can't think that way because it's too much shit in the media that influences them, and you got too many people telling them this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so they think they supposed to live this fairy tale type of life or have this fairy tale type of relationship when that a relationship is like everything else. It's hard, it takes work, and you gotta work at it every day. And it ain't always gonna be roses. Sometimes you're gonna get a big old pile of manure, but that's what it is. But with that manure, you take it and you make beautiful roses.
Facts. Well, and I've learned to look at it. What's that dude's name? The pastor. Jamal Bryant.
That's what I'm about to say. Which one? Because it's a couple of them. But okay, Jamal Bryant.
Jamal Bryant. I'll never forget, y'all. And I know this message. This had to been like 10, 15 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah, 10, 15 years ago.
He preached a message, and I just randomly ended up hearing it. I don't know whether I heard it on YouTube or on the church or however I heard it. But he had a sermon, I had to date them. And so I live my life with the understanding, and then I'll tie in how that makes sense for me. I live my life with this understanding. Not everything has to happen. Sometimes we just make stupid fucking decisions, but everything that does happen can serve a purpose, right? So he had this sermon. I can't even really tell you what the sermon was about at this point, but that title is what struck me. And from then on, I changed how I looked at any relationship I've engaged in, whether it's my marriage or dating or whatever. Because what I've decided is I could have made a bad decision in choosing that person, but that experience can still serve me for the better. So I had to date that person. I had to marry that person. I had to engage with that friend or whatever, because at the end of the day, it has served the purpose to help me become this version of me. Now, would I be this version of me without those experiences? Who knows, right? So that's how I've learned to look at it. And that's, I think, what has helped me heal beyond things a lot quicker and stay in the focus of I can have what I want when I want it. When I didn't want to get married, I chose people that I knew that would never push that option. When I decided I was ready to get married, I made that choice and I got married. And like literally, it all happened very quickly, right? And so I think we as women have to empower ourselves, but also Black men have to empower themselves. Going back to what you said, there may be women a dime a dozen, but what quality are they? Is she the type of woman that you want? Right? And the same thing for us as women. Instead of, running around and jumping on everything random, are we dating or are we marrying intentionally based on what we need, want, and desire? Are we marrying potential and then pissed? And men probably do it too, right? Are we marrying potential and then pissed because they ain't living up to that shit? You know what I'm saying? So the other question that came in, let me pull it back up so I don't misread it. Okay, y'all, Gypsy is under the weather, so she probably will not be joining us. So, Gypsy, I know you're gonna watch the replay at some point. You know we love you, girl. Get you some rest. Go back to sleep, and we'll see you next week. But let me get back to the question. Okay. So I'm gonna give this to you again. It was just in general to both of us, but I'm gonna ask you for your male perspective, your masculine perspective first. What do you feel like a Black woman can do to better engage as she's dating, even if she finds a good quality man, right? What? So I'm phrasing it so I can give it to you as the guy. What do you think a Black woman can do to better engage with a man to create a healthier experience? The specifics that she's asking is like, a lot of times Black men see us as nagging when we're asking for a need to be met, or too emotional. So what do you think a Black woman can do to better engage with Black men in healthier ways? Oh Lord, here go the smile. Wait a minute.
No. Because I had to stop myself. Because I couldn't, because I was about to say something, but I
Don't
couldn't
say it.
say
Don't
that.
say it.
I couldn't say that because that immediately, when you say that, that immediately pisses Black women off. So I'm not gonna say that. But
Okay, so wait though. Okay, should you
but
say it
like,
and we talk about it?
well, okay. So what I was gonna say was calm down. That's what I was gonna say. But when you say that to a Black woman, that sets her off. So you can't say calm down. You so I was gonna take a different approach
Okay.
and say and
Okay.
say take a step back.
Take a step back. Okay. What does that mean?
You know, so what I found in my lifetime, a lot of times, what a lot of women don't do is look at a situation outside of their own point of view. I mean,
Okay.
a lot of people don't do it, but I'm only talking about my personal experiences because I'll say something and they take it a certain way. Instead of saying, "Hold on, wait, what do you mean by that?"
Mm-hmm.
They'll take it and just start exercising. You know, jumping to
Okay.
conclusions and all that shit. And I'm like, hold on, wait, that's not what I meant. This is what I meant. Oh no, you just saying that because I said what I said. No, if you'd have asked me at first, what do you mean by that? I would have
Mm-hmm.
gladly expounded, and you would have known that that is not what I meant. The way you took it is not. But instead of doing that, you just off to the races. And so, to me, that would be the best advice that I can give. Take a step back first and say, and I'm not even saying picture it from somebody else's point of view. I'm just saying, hold on, wait, what do you mean by that? Because if you say something to me, and I'm like, oh, I'm about to punch you in the mouth. But first, let me say, what do you mean by that? Oh, that's what you meant. Oh, see, I was thinking something totally different. My fault. I apologize because I was about to cause you some bodily harm. You know, so that's all I'm saying. You know, take a step back. To me, that's the most important thing a Black woman can do. Take a step back, listen to what a motherfucker is actually saying, and then if what he's saying is lining up with what you thought it was, then that's when you're not like, okay, nah, I need to yeah, nah, this ain't gonna work out for me. But if he says something different, then it's like, oh, so he just has, like we just have a communication problem between us. We gotta figure out a better way to communicate so that we don't have these issues.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times that's what it really is that two people could be saying the same thing two different ways,
Yes.
but it sounds so crazy to each of them that it causes problems when it's really not a problem.
I'm gonna catch up on the comments and then I'm gonna share my thoughts. Okay. Sure said, good point. We're not allowed to be at unrest. Yes. Good point, Sean. Chandrita said, I'm every woman is all in me. Sure said they were not taught to self-assess. I agree, Sean. Grin and bear it. Women are ingrained to grin and bear it when it's unbearable. Jason, hey stranger. Yes, y'all, we were on rest and sabbatical for the past 2 weeks, but we back, y'all. We back. Malik Bay, hey, thank you. Yes, because I am a whole motherfucking empress and a goddess. Say less. Sure said people are dating with a lot of distrust. They do not see the other person as human. First of all, they see each other as inanimate objects. Yes. So I'm gonna do a commercial break and just remind you guys, make sure that you hit that like button on this video. That helps us with engagement. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and click that little bell so that you get notified when we go live and you don't miss it. And make sure that you are sharing this video out. That truly helps us to grow. And for y'all, because I see more questions coming in, do me a favor, because I know some of y'all just, you got to have your anonymity. I respect it. Create a throwaway email, y'all. Let's make this simple. Create a throwaway email, and that way you can hop on in here and post your questions, because I want to be engaging and, you know what I'm saying, focus. I don't want to keep looking down trying to field questions. I love y'all. Thank you so much for trusting me with that, but I ain't got the mental space right now. Look, I had to doctor on myself. When I tell y'all I am hyped up on candy and Mountain Dew to even be sitting here tonight, because your girl is still recuperating, okay? Jason said, where Gypsy? Yes, Gypsy is under the weather. She did message me. Hers not feeling bad, good. Hers in the bed. So we're going to check on her once we're done with this live, because she be bringing personality, okay? We miss our Gypsy babe, but hopefully she'll be feeling better and join us next week. With that being said, everything you said, Sean, I do agree that sometimes women, Black women, whatever, need to be able to calm down so that we can hear. But I also will say to that, I suggest that men figure out, why is she getting so hype? Oftentimes, there's something that you're saying to inflame it, or something that you're doing or not doing, and she's maybe feeling unheard, which is causing her to rise up here. And sometimes if men can go that extra step to check in and be like, how am I helping to create this response in her? Am I creating safe space? Because I say this all the time and I hear men argue against it. I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on it. Most women want to be soft. They want to hand the fucking reins to you and let you control shit, because they exhausted out here doing all the things, right? So they want to give it to you. They want to be soft. They want to be chill and sensual and sexual and relaxed and just like carefree and enjoying life a lot more. They want to be all of that with you and more. But most men don't know how to create that safe space for her to exist in that. And so then you got a woman who's battling in her masculine more than her feminine and trying to figure out how to be heard, and then you're butting heads. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's right, but that is just another perspective to consider. So with that said, I agree with you again. Sometimes we as women have to be able to check ourselves, chill out so we can actually hear what you're saying. But I still advocate for men to actively participate in those conversations and make sure that they are creating space to help curate that softer experience for her to calm down and be quiet and ask questions.
And I feel you on that, but when you're the kind of guy that's like, what did I do? Just tell me.
Yeah.
You know what you did. If I knew, I wouldn't be asking.
If I knew, I wouldn't be asking. Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Why? I can't figure out what's going on in your head.
Yeah.
I need you to explain that to me. I need you to talk to me. We gotta have a conversation. So that's part of the problem right there as well. And then the flip side of that is, just like women need to feel like that's their safe space, men need to feel like that's their safe space too.
Yeah.
You got to be my rock. You got to be my safe space. I got to be able to come to you. What the world don't see is what I can show you. If I just need to lay in your lap and cry,
Yeah.
that's what needs to happen. But the world don't see that, because all the world get is rah, rah, rah. I'm going to crush everybody. That's what the world gets. But you need to be that for me. And when you're not that for me, then what is it? What are we doing here? What are we doing?
So I think I really want to say I still think that comes down to communication, because I again could be biased, right? But I do believe that the average woman wants to be that. She wants to be that space where that man can cry and be emotional or rage and let it out, because it's not directed at her, but it is coming out in a space that she has space to hold for him, right? And there's a difference when you're raging at someone or someone is holding space for you to rage and get it out. I believe that the average woman wants to offer that. But again, it comes down to communication of, is that man able to adequately communicate what he is experiencing and what he needs? Because what I find is a lot of the guys that I encounter don't have the language. They don't have the language to even be able to tell their woman what they want, and they're upset and frustrated. Man, I can't even let my guard down around her because she gonna throw it up like the last one did. Did you ask her? Did you try? No, because you know the last one did. Sir, you need therapy. You don't need to be in a right. But then we get into the I don't need to talk to nobody. You just said you were upset because you can't talk to her. Now you sitting here raging because you can't talk to nobody. Which right? They don't have the language, and so when she doesn't understand what they want, now you're mad at the world. So you're raging at her instead of with her to let it out. And it becomes combative, right? But like you said, both people can be saying the same thing. But if it's not in the language that you understand. So I had that experience happen with a friend a couple of weeks ago. We were having a conversation, good friend of mine, having a conversation. And he said something. And I was like, no, I kind of think such and such and such and such. And I responded back. And he was like, you just really want to hear yourself talk, because that's literally what I said. And immediately, I ain't even finna lie to you, immediately, I was offended. Like, sir, who the fuck is you talking to, right? And I had to check myself. So I was like, wait. Take a minute. And so I finally said, I was like, no, maybe we're saying the same thing in different language, because that's not what I understood you to be saying. He was like, I meant what I said, and I was very clear. You just wanted to state your point. And I was like, so that made, and I had to step away from that. And I was talking to one of my friends, and I said, I caught it. That made me want to be aggressive and be like, who the fuck is you talking? But I knew that his intent wasn't malicious, right? So I had to breathe, like you said, take a step back. But I think that's happening all the time in our friendships, in our relationships. We don't have the language.
And that's the thing a lot of people have to understand. Different people process information in different ways. So what might make sense to you in your head, and when you say it, when somebody else hear it, they like, oh, he's speaking Japanese.
Yeah.
So let me say this. And although y'all saying the same thing, y'all just saying it two different ways. But now y'all think it's a disagreement when it's really not. But most people are not emotionally inept enough to understand that, okay, maybe we are saying the same things. Let's actually talk it out so we can get to that point to understand each other. And that's the biggest problem.
I think we also have to look at context. So that's where emotional intelligence comes in, right? Because we have to go off of the context of, what do I know about this person? How have they responded in previous experiences or conversations or engagements, right? So I had enough information in our friendship over the past few years to recognize his intent was not to be harmful. He really was coming from the perspective that he thought that I understood what he said, and I was just being bossy. So I had to sit with that and just kind of be like, I'm gonna let him have it, because I can go back and forth with you and try to prove my point of, no, that's not what I mean, blah, 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 blah. Or I can dead it and just be like, it's not even worth all that effort. Let it be. And that's what I chose to do. I let it be. But I did talk about it with a friend, like, okay, I saw it when it happened. I could feel the difference in myself when I shifted based on how he responded. And I was like, and there's the gremlin. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, I'm all about self-reflection. I'm always wanting to look at how I behave and engage so I can continue to be the better version of me and use that as I engage with people. But I think that's where it stops. Most of us are not doing that on a consistent basis. We choose to be offended because somebody said something that hurt our feelings. Our friend pissed us off, our man pissed us off, our woman pissed us off, and we don't ask more questions for clarification because we assume we know what they meant.
And that's the problem, and that's why, like, I hate having conversations through text.
Mm-hmm.
I really do, because that could really, a text could be misconstrued. I mean, I've had some accidental breakups because of text messages. I know that sounds
I can see
crazy,
that. I can kind of see that though.
but when somebody say something, you like, what? Because that's how I look. I'm like, what? You know what? You ain't got to worry about me no more.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And then, a couple months later, they'll call me up and be like, but that's not what I meant. But that's the fuck you said. Where I'm from, when you say that means we breaking up. So that's what you said. So hey, you ain't got to worry about me. That's it. Would you just stop talking to me? Hell yeah, look what you said to me. But that's not what I meant. So it's like, okay, so sometimes you do gotta dig deeper than what's on the surface. Sometimes different shit mean different shit to different people, especially when
Yeah,
y'all from two different places.
very true. Very true. So, like I said, that's why I feel like emotional intelligence has to enter the conversation, because really, to make it simple so we all on the same page, is really the understanding of your thoughts and feelings and emotions. Being able to adequately and appropriately decipher, what am I feeling, what am I thinking, what am I needing to express, right? What emotions am I processing through? And at the same time, being able to decipher and discern appropriately other people and what they are expressing, what thoughts, feelings, and emotions they are trying to express, right? Because again, therein lies the disconnect. I thought you said and I thought you meant, so I didn't ask for clarity. But emotional intelligence is also developed over time through context. The more you engage with a person, the more you experience them, the easier it is to build a framework so that you can decipher what is their true intent. Are they trying to be harmful? Are they trying to piss me off or offend me? Or are they saying something that I might not be completely understanding? Let me ask,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
First said women express themselves a lot and men choose to respond to what they want to address from their women. Yeah.
That's true, but that ties into the emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
A man that's in tune with himself and his emotions, he is going to express more. He is
Mm-hmm.
going to talk more, and he's going to be more receptive of what his woman is telling him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jason said that 90% of me and my wife's arguments, she heard what I said and took it the wrong way.
And I'm right. I'm right there with you, Jason. It happens. You just gotta be like, okay, let's move on. I'm sorry.
Listen,
I apologize. Let's move on.
we have to do it on both sides of the tracks, right? Sure said a lot of people are not emotionally mature. Yeah. And so, going back to what Jason said, we hear things and we take it the wrong way. I can agree. I think it's on both sides though,
No,
right?
it
A lot
is.
of
It
times
is.
we as women may be saying something, but because our language is slightly different or our context is slightly different, it can come across as if we're being abrasive or aggressive when. So I asked the question. I was randomly talking to this guy I knew, and he was telling me something he had bought, and I was like, why would you buy that? Like, it was a legit question, because he had just the week before been telling me he was trying to work on saving and stop spending all his money. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why would you go out and make a huge purchase? But I wasn't trying to, and he was like, ooh, who you trying to check? I said, nobody, you ain't my man. I legitimately was asking a question, but because my tone is so direct sometimes, you get what I'm saying? Again, miscommunication. And I cleared it up and he was like, oh, okay, my bad. I thought you was, I was like, no, you're my friend. Why would I not try to hold you accountable to what you said you want to do? But sir, you ain't my man. So tell you what, I'm gonna shut the hell up. Go spend all your money and stay broke. Like, what I'm saying?
Basically, because like, and that's the thing. Because even if you're just friends, if I tell you something as a friend, I expect. That's why I told you, so you can hold me accountable.
Right.
Because if I don't want you, I ain't gonna tell you. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna
Do what you
So
do, right?
you
And
know,
it's the same thing with us as ladies. Like I find myself and personality also comes into the conversation, right? Because I find myself often having to put the disclaimer out there, please excuse my face. My face does not always get the memo. It be doing what it want to do unintentionally, right? So I got RBF. Y'all know what RBF is? In case you don't know, it is considered to be resting bitch face. So we're going to put that there and keep it moving. And so I often have to tell people, like, I wouldn't even think about you, my bad, because they'll see the look on my face and my mind is like 1,000 miles away thinking about whatever. And they prattling on, talking about whatever. And they be like, well, damn, why you looking like that? Huh? What, wait, did you talking to me? My bad. What you say again? Right? You know? And people can take it and be like, you just don't care. You just so mean. No. If you, like, I'm that person. If you want my attention, call my name. Make sure that I know that you're talking to me so I can focus. Because if not, I'm trying to figure out life on Mars or some random bullshit with squirrel brain. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. I feel you. And, you know, most high thinkers think like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
their brain is a million miles a minute. You know, 15, 20 different things are going at one time,
Mm-hmm.
simultaneously. Like you
Mm-hmm.
figuring, I figure this out, this out, this out, this out. You know, and you still doing what you gotta do right then and there. So
Mm-hmm.
then when somebody just come up to you and start talking some bullshit, and you just like you're not even thinking about, and they might say something to catch your attention, you be like, hold on, wait, what? Say run
Yeah.
it back. Or you might be like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I didn't mean like that it happened to me today. I was at work. I'm standing right next to this woman I know, and I didn't even realize it was her. Because
Yeah.
I'm thinking about so many other different things. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I was it was like 5 minutes, and I'm just like, it's just some woman just doing what she doing. Then she's like, "Oh hey, hi." I look, oh shit, I didn't even realize that was you. What is going on? How are you doing?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so it happens, and so but that's why it always comes down to effective communication,
Yes.
and you have to figure out, especially if it's somebody that you like and you want to be with, you have to
Mm-hmm.
figure out how to communicate with them.
Yeah.
And I always look at it from the standpoint of a teacher, because teachers have to figure out how to convey this information to however many students they have at one time. But
Mm-hmm.
that shit changes constantly because they always get new students,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
everybody learns different. So you have to figure out different ways to say the same thing. So
Yeah.
sometimes you got to come up with 10 or 20 different ways to say the same thing, depending on who you're talking to.
Absolutely. And again, context. You got to know your people, right? If you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, if you're going to date somebody, if you're going to marry somebody, if you're going to call yourself friend or loved one or bestie or family or whatever, you have to be willing to put in the work and the effort to know your people. So, again, I'll use getting sick recently as an example. Literally, I am an overthinker. I rationalize. My brain is wired to look at everything through a logical lens, right? It has to make sense for me. If it doesn't make sense, I discard it. I literally was on the phone rationalizing with my friend. She had to repeat back to me the conversation we had because I didn't remember. And I was like, damn, I was really tripping because I was I was processing logically as I was telling her my symptoms. And she said, I was like, I'm good. Just call and check on me in an hour. And she was like, Jasmine, call 911. I was like, I'm good. I don't feel great. Just call and check on me in an hour. Okay, bye. And she said, I hung up the phone. Like she was still talking, but I had already made up my mind that I'm good. And I laid down for an hour and she called me back and I was worse. And she was like, stop what you're doing and call 911. And I was still trying to process, like, well, okay, but this might be normal. I don't have a fever. Well, what about? And she kept having to just interrupt my pattern of thinking, right? So I'm using that as an example. That's an extreme case, but that example literally saved my life. So we do the same thing in relationships, right? Like you said, you don't have accidental breakups. I actually understand that. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes in the heat of the moment, Jason said, or just hard headed. Probably a little bit of that too, right? But in the heat of the moment, a lot of times people say things that they are firing off quickly, trying to respond, trying to get the last word in, trying to be heard. They're angry, they're emotional, whatever, right? They're sad, they feel rejected, whatever they may be feeling. And then so you got two people that are now processing through the lens of whatever their personality is, whatever their character traits is, whatever their experiences are, whatever language they may understand or verbiage or vernacular, you know, whatever you want to use. And you could be saying the exact same thing. You could want the exact same thing, but you can sound like you're on opposing teams. So again, I advocate for context. What do you know about your person?
It is. What do you know about them? And especially because if you know them well enough, then you know what right questions to ask.
Yes.
Because if you ask the wrong questions, you're gonna get a negative response.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to know what right questions to ask to get to where you need to get to, so that you can make, your decisions on what you're going to say, so
Mhm.
that you're not exacerbating the situation.
And because I like to flip it on the flip side of that, if that person is asking questions that aren't quite landing right or appropriately or in the best way, can you reframe it? Can you ask them for clarification? Can you look through the context of what you know about that person and ask yourself? Because I've had to do it plenty of times, like, okay, I know this person loves me, so their agenda is not to harm me. Why am I being offended by this? Why am I feeling some type of way about this? Why is this bringing up? And a lot of the times we're responding not really based on what that person is saying. We are responding based on the hurt that we feel because somebody else asked us that same thing and they were being a dick, right? Or somebody else asked us that same thing and they were trying to hurt us. Somebody else was being smart or trying to reject us. Or that time our mama kicked our cat, or our daddy beat our boyfriend with a bat, or whatever craziness we've gone through, right? We are responding from that. So both parties, whether it's two women, two men, men and women, whatever, both parties in the disagreement or the argument or the relationship or the marriage or whatever have to be willing to ask, what do I know about this person? What do I believe their intention is? What do I believe that they are trying to accomplish right now? Because if you can genuinely say, well, I believe they love me, then you have to know that they're not trying.
Trying
Now,
to.
for context, trying and exclamation points and quotes, because sometimes we all have a little asshole inside us, and when our feelings hurt, we do want to hurt the other person. But in general, you have to know outside of that moment, that person's probably not trying to hurt you. They really want to resolve it or talk through it or whatever the case may be, right? Jason said, that's me and my wife. And when see it and understand we saying the same thing, I go silent, which pisses her off even more. Shake my head. Oh,
Okay, so with that, you do have to say, okay, I see we're saying the same thing, we're just saying it differently. You got to approach it that kind of way, because trust me, I'm quick to go silent. Like, fuck that. I'm gonna shut the fuck up, and you gonna realize I shut the fuck up, and then you gonna be mad. But you done already pissed me off, so now we both mad. But let's talk about it. But first, I'm gonna shut the fuck up because I gotta calm down first, and then I'm gonna come back and say, okay, I was upset. That's why I stopped talking.
yeah.
But now let's go ahead and talk it out, because
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly believe in, like, yo, we not going to bed mad. I'm not sleeping on the couch. Now, if you want to sleep on the couch, be my guest. But I'm not sleeping on the goddamn couch. Fuck that. So we not going to bed mad. We just had to take a break, the time out, and now we come back and we can work it out.
Mm.
But I'll be damned if I'm paying mortgage, rent, whatever, paying bills, whatever. I'm buying food, I'm cooking, all that shit, and I'm sleeping. Nah, fuck that. I'm not sleeping on the couch. You can hang that up. You better go spend a night at your friend's house or something. And if you do that, yeah, I might not be here when you get home.
So dig a little deeper into that for me, because I want to understand. So I understand a lot of us were taught, don't let the sun go down on your anger, right? Don't go to
Mm-hmm.
bed mad, don't go to bed
Mm-hmm.
angry. I personally believe that's complete bullshit. There are some times when you can't work through it that quickly. Both people need space to breathe. Both people need space, depending on what it is, right? You may need a minute away, regardless of whether somebody's sleeping on the couch or the spare bedroom, or somebody goes to a family member or a friend's house or gets a hotel or whatever. To sometimes you need physical separation away from a person in order to process. So I think it's a form of bypassing ourselves and one another to force the conversation sometimes if both people aren't ready or you haven't had time to work through whatever it is, right? So I'm like that meme that goes around, like me and my husband had an argument and we don't go to bed angry. It's Thursday and we ain't been asleep since Monday. Like, that's me. Okay, we can stay the fuck up and we can look at each other, but I'm not gonna force myself to talk, because the more you try to force it, sometimes you just make it worse. Like,
Nah,
honestly.
I'm not. I'm not gonna force it. But by the time when I'm like, okay, let's. I know it ended abruptly or whatever. But by the time I'm back, like, okay, let's talk about it. I'm generally not mad anymore. I'm
What
generally
if
not.
she's still processing? Because you're ready, but what if
And
she's
and,
not?
and and if she's not ready, she's not ready. But I'm not going to bed, man, because it don't take me long at all. Unless you did some real egregious shit, then I'm just because I can't. I mean, shit happens.
Shit happens. But again, whatever it may be, sometimes, like, me being an extreme introvert, I know that the next time I get married, we got to have some space in a big ass house, because I don't want to be in this room looking at you across the hallway and our TVs are competing and we both still pissed off. And I'm like pissed every time I see your ass walk by. No, we need to have a basement or two or three. Like, we need to be able to have physical stuff, because for me, I need that separation to recalibrate.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm in my emotions, every time I see you, it's going to piss me off to the highest level of festivity, depending on what the disagreement was about. So I need to be in a space where I don't have to see you, right? I'm an advocate for go sleep on the couch or the spare bedroom or the hotel or the family members if you have to get away so that you can process. Because a lot of times people say hurtful things in their anger that they cannot take back.
And I feel that, and I understand that, and all I'm saying is it ain't gonna be me. That's
And
all
I
I'm
get that.
saying.
I get that. But what I'm asking you to dig deeper on is because you said, if let's say you
Yeah,
you
if you
got
do that, I'm
married.
not gonna be there because when you come home, now I'm like, okay, so okay, that's what you want to do. So I'm gonna be at Denny's or somewhere eating and chilling, and I'll fucking post some shit on online. Like, yeah, look at my food, look at me having fun.
Just out here living your best life, trying to make her mad. Look at you.
Yeah,
Just
we
petty.
could have talked about it,
Just
but she
petty.
wasn't ready. So hey, you not ready? I'm good. I'm chilling. I'm good.
That's so
I'm not
petty, Shay.
hold. I'm not holding no animosity. I'm not gonna hold on to that shit. Life is too short to hold on to some bullshit.
Not saying that people hold on to it, but again, people processing. What I've had to learn is slow down, because just because I may be ready doesn't mean the other person is, right? And
I feel
sometimes
you.
we have to slow down in order to let them catch up in their own timing and speed, so you can both be in a place where you're ready emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, energetically, whatever, to process through and talk about it, right? So that's why I don't like that. Don't go to bed angry, because it forces people to feel like they don't have space sometimes to work through things in their own timing. It may be quick 30 minutes and you're good. It may be a few days, depending again on what it is. Sometimes you have to have that space, because it's not always that you're reacting to what that person said or did. Is now you need time to respond to, why is this triggering me? Why did it bring up this memory from dot dot dot? You understand? So that you don't take it out on that person. So again, I I think
But
again, grown adults, we got to have the accountability to learn the language of the person that we're with, that we say that we love or want to be with, or that we're friends with or call family. And we have to be accountable to, when someone says something that is hurtful, is it really that they were trying to be hurtful, or is it that I am responding based on You know what I'm saying?
And see, and that's when it comes down to the effective communication.
Yeah.
Because at that point, if you tell me something like when you said that, it just took me back to a time where X, Y, and Z happened that really affected. Now that's something different. Because at that point, now I really understand. Like, oh shit, the last thing I was trying to do was trigger you. I just
Hmm.
gave you an honest answer from me
Yeah.
about what was going on. But
Yeah.
now that I know it affected you that way, so that's a
Hmm.
totally different situation.
Absolutely.
And because that requires a different conversation. That's not something. But I was just talking about like regular shit. Like, why you leave your drawers on the floor? Like, I just took them off them on the floor. Now you mad and shit.
Right. You
Like,
need to turn it up.
what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, okay, but when it's something deep like that requires a different conversation. So that's something
Yeah.
totally different.
Yeah. And again, still goes back to the emotional maturity. So I've had different experiences myself. I've had the relationship where I could say that, and it was like, you know what? Can I just hold you? You ain't got to talk about it. Let me
And
just be here with you to be present. And when you're ready, we can finish this conversation. You can share with me why it triggered you. And I've had the experience of, I mean, that ain't my fault. I ain't do it. You need to let that shit go. You know what I'm saying? And so clearly I'm not in that anymore. Like, no. But a lot of times people are being met with that, which is
no, I
it,
understand.
it
I
becomes more
definitely
abrasive.
understand. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's because a lot of people aren't emotionally available. Not even
Yeah.
emotional intelligence, just being emotionally available
Mm-hmm.
because
Absolutely.
they weren't hugged enough growing up, or they weren't told they were loved enough growing up. So
That. Yeah. That. I think most of our shit comes from childhood, right? We are little people in these big old bodies, and we're still wounded by all the things that grandma did, mama did, daddy did, stepsister, cat, rat, and uncle did, and all the things that happened in between in school, and the person that bullied us, and the girl that broke our heart in 12th grade, and the dude that dumped us for Sarah in 10th grade, and all that stupid shit, right? We are responding from that instead of being emotionally available in the moment. So these are a lot of things we have to consider, not only in our community, in general, between men and women, and betwixt all of us, but especially in our community, going back to where we started with the disconnect because of society and all the misinformation and the miseducation and all the intentional stuff that is done to keep us divided. I think we have to be accountable to go in that extra mile to fix that divide. We can't rely on just saying, like a lot of men like to say, well, black women just angry. I want to go get me a. I have seen so many angry Latina women and Asian women and white women and every fucking thing else. Black women are not the only women that get angry, but you got so many men that will use that as a reason. Sir, no, just say you want to go get somebody else, and that's be at peace with that. You know what I'm saying? Black women, I always hear, well, all black men are such dogs, they all cheating, they all hoes. Not true. Some of them may be, but we can't speak in such absolutes because of our pain. You know what I'm saying?
and that's where a
Jason
lot of
said,
it comes from.
yeah, Jason said in my 22 years of marriage, we went to sleep mad 3 times, but she'll try to wear pajamas to bed. Oh, hell no, we got to meet the cheeks. Oh, my God.
That's a
I ain't
that's
mad
a
at
good
you, Jason.
that's a good rule to have. That's a good rule to have.
Yes. I ain't listen.
Hold on.
I,
Pull Jason Comedy back up.
yeah.
I know he a comedian, but in that picture, he's singing "If This World Were Mine." It just look like that.
You gonna let him comfort you like that, Jason? What say you? You gonna let him comfort you like that? But honestly, I think it's a friend of mine, old friend of mine. Her dad is a minister,
Mm-hmm.
and he told me this years ago. I found it to be true, y'all. He said, if you ever want to stop an argument with your person, he was married for a long time. He said, if you ever want to stop an argument with your person, just get naked.
Hey, well, it just depends.
Now,
It it
yeah,
it
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 does.
it depends on what the argument is about.
Context is everything, y'all. But I
Yeah,
will
because if we
say, It
If we
works.
just having if we having a regular argument, okay, that'll work. But if we had an argument because I found out you was cheating on me, that ain't gonna work.
Wait a minute. No, that's kind of extreme. Yeah, context is everything, y'all. Context is everything. But in your basic garden variety disagreements and arguments, just get naked. And I will say, I took that and I started it. Oh, let me try. It works. It works. That's all I'm gonna say. Do what you will with that information. But he said, if you Jason laughed and sure said 24 hours to respond, Jason.
I mean, this ain't no beef. I was just joking. This ain't no beef.
Jason said that works for a woman. Men can't get away with that shit. Yes, you can.
He a comedian. I ain't trying to get destroyed like Drake.
Listen.
He
Okay,
make
so
money doing that shit.
We gotta go to the Kendrick performance in just a minute, because yes, but listen, I'm telling y'all, Jason, it worked for the men too. Because if she really love you and feeling you, I told my person that, and he tried it, and I was like, what was we talking about again? Oh, okay, you want to come?
I mean, I can say it does work because I've done that plenty of times with she was mad, and I'm just like, come here, and then that's what it was.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you, yeah, I mean, depending on the situation, that can diffuse it real quick.
Well, and his point was, when he said it to me, he said most things start to sound real silly. Like once you get naked and you're really focusing on, damn, she fine or he's sexy or whatever you think about that person, and you generally love that person. Once you're sitting there naked with the possibility of intimacy or sex or orgasm or just cuddling or whatever, but you're naked, so it changes and it diffuses the energy, because most things become inconsequential or stupid at that point, And like I said, I've experimented with it. It works on both sides. But going back to the it works for men too. Yes, it does. Going back to the other comment, the Kendrick Lamar performance. First of all, can I tell you, I don't even watch Super Bowl, but I was searching for that performance. Okay.
I feel you.
He killed it. And I'm loving the unity that I'm seeing by so many people of all cultures and everywhere, like doing what they call it, the Kendrick walk or the K shuffle or something people calling it now. Love it. Like I done seen Native Americans do it. I done seen Canadians do it. White people do it. Black people do it. Latino. I am loving the fact that everybody is talking about it and celebrating it and doing it.
Well, they call it. Well, I don't. So I had to look it up to see exactly what he's doing, because it is this one thing that he does that's not the crip walk.
Yeah.
It's the kind of way that he moves, and I think it is cool that how he does it, because I'm like, I haven't really seen people actually lean into that. I've seen people do, but not lean into. But he leans into, like he does it all the time.
Yeah.
So if they talking about that, that's one thing. But if they talking about the crip walk, I guess it got famous because but it's like all gangs do that shit. It's not just Crips that do it. All gangs do it.
Yeah.
But I guess it was made more famous because there were more famous Crips out there. I don't know. I'm not in that gang life, that gang culture. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what that means, but okay.
We talking about when I said get naked. He's talking about when I said men can do it too, get naked. I promise you, if she thump it, she gonna be thumping it in the way that you want, Jason.
But that's what I'm like what does that mean? Like what she be like? She gonna just be like, wow, you like, oh shit.
But no, going back to what you said, is the I think I know what you're talking about, the different moves. What I've been seeing is that kind of shuffle where he'd be like, that we're doing on stage, and I've been seeing a lot of people imitate that, and I love it because it's a discussion piece, right? He was unapologetically Black, he was unapologetically culture, he was unapologetically all the things that we get vilified for, and I love the fact that he had Serena up there doing her crip walk. And I know everybody turned it into, oh, he was being petty with Drake. But I feel like whatever that may have been, I feel like it was also a moment for her because she was vilified when she did it after her Wimbledon win some years ago. So I think this was another opportunity for her to celebrate her local culture too. You know what I'm saying?
And my thing is, people always gonna put their own spin. Like, all see, I was about to be racist, but I'm not gonna be racist. I'm just gonna say a lot of people was upset about the halftime show to the point, and it's a lot of influential people that was upset
All
that
that.
the NFL is like, oh, we're not gonna get that much control of the halftime show. This was the highest
Facts.
viewed halftime show
In
ever.
history. Yep.
And it killed Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson, yo, his halftime show was the shit. The only person that I ever held up to his halftime show was Prince. Prince halftime show was the shit.
Facts.
And
Facts.
so, yo, for him, and this is a Pulitzer Prize winner. He
I think
just
they put
won
this out.
5 Grammys for this song that he performed at that Super Bowl. That y'all old because he want to take shots at. Nah, it wasn't, he ain't want to take shots. Yo, Drake been murdered. That shit been happened.
That was done when he first came out with the song.
He just was saying it because you heard the crowd. You heard the crowd in it.
Everybody knew the
A
song.
minor. Everybody.
Yes.
So it wasn't.
Yes.
It was just like, yo, I just won 5 Grammys off this shit. Why wouldn't I perform it at the Super? Come on now.
That's basic logic. But I also, so I came across this TikTok video the other day. This white guy was breaking it down. He said, ask yourself why you're angry. Why are you angry when you hear a black person or a person of color saying black love, black excellence, black whatever, or cultural pride or whatever, right? I'm just adding that because he was really focusing on black and white. But why are you angry when you see black people celebrate each other? Why are you angry when they are holding space for one another? He said, that's the opportunity for you to dig deeper. Your anger really comes from the fact that you are upset that you're not the center of their attention. You are not being centered in whatever the conversation was, because there was a news anchor that had this whole video that was going around on TikTok. Nobody even knows who he is, sir. We don't know who you are. Everybody know who he is all around the world. Okay. That's why everybody's mimicking this video and doing the dance and doing all this shit, because they know him and they rock with the song and they understand the message behind it. Next, the whole crowd sang the song with him. So clearly they recognize who he is, right? Clearly it resonates. But he went and this was the least inclusive. And especially when we're talking about DEI, are you really, sir, trying to flip this shit on us? How that work, right? So they were giving it to him. Like, a lot of people have been stitching his videos and giving it to him, because it's like you literally tried to use the DEIA conversation to center white people. How, Sway? Make that make sense, right? So anyway, the first guy that I'm referencing was like, your anger is an opportunity for you to recognize your racism. But that's a conversation that most of them are not willing to have. I stand on this, and I say this all the time, and I've had this conversation with whoever. I'm not going to say that I think every white person is intentionally racist, but I damn sure stand on the fact that I think every white person is inherently racist, at least here in the United States. I cannot speak about overseas because I've not lived over there, right? I may have visited other places, but I ain't lived anywhere but other than the United States. In the United States, I think that every single white person is inherently racist, because it is ingrained in culture. It is ingrained in our history. It is ingrained in the fabric of the construct of the US of A, right? And so if you're not intentionally doing the work to not be racist, then you're going to rely on your privilege of whatever has been poured into you. What you've been taught is to take up space, and we should take up less space to center you and to accommodate you. What you've been taught is what you do and behave is okay, when just like box braids. Well, I don't know what the fuck they calling them now that the Kardashians wear them, but now all of a sudden they popular. But when it was black women and it was cultural, it was too ghetto, it was too ethnic, it was unprofessional, right?
You had to cut your hair.
You had to cut your hair. You had to tame it. You had to put it in a bun. You had to do something so that it was not free flowing. So you're telling us that the way our hair naturally grows is not appropriate, right? But now that white women are doing it, it's okay. Black women wear weave and wear ghetto is too much. We going overboard. We doing all this and that. I see just as many Latinos and Asians and white women in other cultures wearing weave just as much as we do. They may have a different texture, but it's still weave. You get what I'm
Still
saying?
weave.
It's
Now,
still weave.
PSA, ladies, I don't care if you wear a weave or not. Just don't wear a bad weave.
Woo, my God. Because that crunchy head, soft life ain't cute. Okay. That's all I'm saying. So again, I think that most white people or all white people are inherently racist if they're not being intentional about facing it and working through it. Because again, when it's a whole cast of white people, which most of the performances have been, nobody gave a damn about being inclusive. Now,
Nope.
because it was all black, all of a sudden it's an issue, right? But again, we live in a country where it was literally built on our fucking backs and through our
Oh,
blood, sweat, and tears. And we're
hell
still to
yeah.
this day, 2025, being made to feel as if we don't belong. Like the nerve of some people to be like, you should go home. Bitch, you go home. Where you from? Your people ain't from here either. Like
You know what I'm
that's how I
saying?
start responding to people. Where you from?
And
Let's talk about that.
they want to act like they own it. Like, you not from here. Your people came from some other country and came here.
Like, oh my God, and don't get me wrong, guys, because
Eh,
I have some really great people in my life that are Caucasian. Love them. I got some ride or die friends that are Caucasian. But that's because we've put in the work to get to know each other and they have proven themselves safe as an ally. I believe if you got to tell people you were ally, you ain't did the work because it's not recognizable through
Exactly.
your actions. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But you got more people that are so performative with it, but
Mm-hmm.
given a choice, they're going to flip on your ass. And I've seen it time
Hell
after
yeah.
time after time after time. They will stand in your face when they're not doing the work, right? Stand in your face, oh, I want to be an ally. And the first opportunity that comes, they will stand on your neck. And so this is why I'm all about, y'all see me doing this all the time or saying Black love. This is why we do this podcast. This is why I am becoming even more now so unapologetically Black, because it's like my love for Black men, my love for Black people can't stop just because it's not popular society wide. You know what I'm saying? My intention to build us up and to encourage us can't stop just because it's uncomfortable or just because it's not always accepted, right? Like I feel like we're being forced into this conversation in 2025. We ain't got no choice.
We don't.
To reference, and I'm gonna change the information on the video so it makes sense because we ain't talked about DEIA today. But to reference that conversation very briefly, I have really had to sit with holding space for people that were upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not that it doesn't affect me, it has affected me financially. That's actually one of the trainings that I do for companies. It has affected me very personally. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What I also recognize is we weren't the number one people benefiting from it anyway.
Nope.
So I can't be upset about something that, though it's affecting me, because a lot of companies are pulling the training, so that's less revenue that I'm producing off of. You understand? But I've never been in a situation where I can truly say that it got me a position.
And that's the thing, and that's why I was like, well, I can't really speak to it. I mean, I could talk about it because I know what it stands for, but it has never directly benefited me.
No.
I've gotten everything I've gotten because I was the most qualified person for that position. It had nothing to do with nothing else.
And
And so
statistically, we didn't benefit from it that well.
exactly,
When we look at culture breakdown.
but it was in place. It wasn't it wasn't in place for us. It was in place for others. Mainly those, the best way I can put it is brown people that are not African American, not African. I'm not even talking about the Latinos, Latinas. I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about those other brown people that sometimes own a 7-Eleven. That's what I'm talking about. So, it was mainly put in place for them, as well as, and I know this is going to sound stupid, but those women, let me put it that way, those women and disabled people. That's who was mainly put in place for. Yeah. And now those are going to be the ones that are going to be suffering.
Yeah. I don't think that people are recognizing how far reaching this is, Sean. I really don't. Like, this is affecting the agricultural industry. This is affecting Black farmers because they were able to receive grants based on diversity initiatives. You know what I'm saying? But I think they're going to be the hardest ones hit because they're the biggest recipients.
And like, you don't know how many people I've seen that it's like, I had signed contracts. And these are, and I had signed contracts, and they calling me up telling me my contract is canceled. I'm about to lose my farm. I done made purchases based off the money I'm supposed to get, and that's why you never count your chickens till your eggs hatch.
Fucking facts. I promise you, I am seeing, because I'm in like different homesteading groups and different conversations, because eventually I do want to have like my own small personal farm, right? So I'm always paying attention to the conversations, and I can't tell you the number of people, same thing, but us, right? I can't tell you the number of women that I'm seeing that are getting letters and email, and they're posting them to show proof of grants being stopped, funding being stopped. If you got invoices out now, you got such and such time to get them in, or they will not be paid, blah, 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 because those incentives and those initiatives are coming to a screeching halt, right? And like I said, I've had contracts for trainings that are being canceled because they like, we're not going to do the training now because people are scared. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to be seen to be trying to do anything especially if they get some type of government or federal funding, And so it's affecting us in different ways. But I also have enough trust in myself that even if it don't come that way, it's going to come another way.
It's going to come another way.
So I think people have to have nuance of the conversation before we move on, that it's not just in the 9-to-5 job sector, right?
It's not.
It's so much deeper than that, but we'll table that until Gypsy comes back, because I know that's something she's passionate about talking about too. But the reason I segued into that for just a minute is because going back to where we started the communication between us, right? I think that all of this 2025 started off gloriously and then turned into a shit show real quick. And I think
around about January 20th.
Listen, I was gonna say like the 10th or the 9th or something, but I'll give it the 20th.
Not around about January 20th is when everything went downhill.
It went down. But that being said, I think it's forcing us, my hope, and I'm gonna put your comment up here, sure. My hope is that it's forcing us to have conversations that we are becoming more constructive and intentional about one another as Black men and women. You know what I'm saying?
We need to come together. We need to build our greenwoods again. We need to build our communities again. We need to stop fucking with them.
Yes.
And this ain't hate. This is just what we need to do to survive. It ain't got nothing to do with hate. Fuck. I mean, if they want to be down, come on. But anyway, we need to do us.
Yeah.
Come together, build our own communities, have our own stores, our own manufacturing, our own whatever we do amongst ourselves, because a lot of people don't realize we generate most of the economy in America.
Come on.
So if we work that within ourselves, we'll be great. They'll be fucked up, but we'll be great.
Wholeheartedly agree with you. And I think that's a conversation that we got to continue to have in different ways. I'm actually going to talk about that from a little bit of what I saw with this Hillman talk. So Jason said, sure, he get a pass because he rocking the Eagles jersey.
Fly,
Nadine,
Eagles, fly.
hey, I'm not sure what you meant, Nadine. You said because. So if you're still with us, can you let us know what you were talking about? Sure, you laughing. And then Sure said the same thing with him and TikTok. To the field to be a part of all cultures, but at the same time want to exclude us when it benefits them. So something interesting. It seems like Hillman Talk is imploding on itself already, and it's only been a few weeks. Now, I've been trying to follow it a little bit because I just was honestly curious. Like I started following a lot of the professors because they were giving great information that was interesting, right? But then it seemed like ego got involved and nobody was really listening to one another. So I saw all of this playing out yesterday as I jumped on TikTok and I was like, what is happening? So I started clicking through trying to figure out, well, I thought this was a good thing. What's going on? Because now I'm seeing a lot of people saying, I don't want to be associated with it. I'm good, blah, 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 because they're at odds in the administration. Now, remind you, all this shit is fictional. From what I can piece together, it really was just supposed to be something engaging and fun for us, cultural awareness. Let's band together and learn and grow forward. And then somebody else kind of jumped in. I forget the original doctor, her name, Dr. something. It starts with a B, I think. But she kind of unofficially created this. And then it seems like 2 other women jumped in. And if I'm getting this wrong, y'all, please forgive me. But it seemed like 2 other women jumped in and all of a sudden put a name on it and said, we the co-founders. Then somebody else ran to the trademark office. 2 other women, I think, ran to the trademark office and put trademarks on it. Or maybe those same 2 women, not quite sure. And then all of a sudden, now you got this board and you got this and you got that. And there's an influencer that was doing an event in Atlanta at the end of this month. Now, from what I could gather, she's putting her own money to fund the event. And other people are also donating their expertise and their whatever to create it. Everything from the ticket sales, which are $20 a piece, to whatever people donate is apparently going to be put together to do scholarships for college students their first year, like, coming out of high school to college or graduating high school and they want to start their business or whatever, right? Then the faculty got up in arms and started sending her videos. Well, where our ticket? I know you fucking lying. You on social media showing your ass over a $20 ticket? Sir, ma'am, please have several seats. Then they accused her of being this and that. And then when they found out, oh, she not actually taking none of the money, then they changed it again, but still coming. And I'm like, what happened to you just want to help the people? We are fighting amongst ourselves, which is exactly what other people want because we're not listening and we're not communicating, and it's ego.
And that's not the world we live in today. And that's the fucked up part. Mm-hmm. Now, I can't really speak specifically on that situation itself because I do not know enough about it. When I saw the post you sent, I saw one other thing about it, and then I saw the post you sent, and so I'm like, oh, this is some real shit. Like when I saw the other thing, I'm like, because the first thing I saw was somebody on there like pleading, like, hey, they trying to get rid of us, subscribe, do this, do that, so we can stay on here, and I'm like, I don't even know what this shit is. What the fuck are you talking about? And then when you sent that post, I'm like, oh shit, this is like some shit that somebody created, but somebody's trying to take it over. Mm-hmm. So I don't know enough ins and outs to really make a informed decision on it. All I'm saying is it seemed like it would be a good thing if you're giving knowledge out for free, because that's how it should be. You shouldn't have to be charging people, because you go to any other country in the world, you go to school, you can seek a higher education and not pay for it. Yeah, you don't pay for university, but here they rake your ass over the coals because we live in this capitalistic society that is all about money, and that's why you fucking $200,000 in the hole coming out of college having to pay off those loans and shit.
And my take on it, and I could be wrong, but I think also with historical context, I think the charge was put in place initially to make it inaccessible to us, because it didn't used to. When it first started, it didn't used to. When it first started, it was free, and then they had Pell Grants and other things, right? And so I think it was just another way to make it less accessible to certain people. And then capitalism got involved, and it just snowballed to where we are now. It's all still insane, you know what I'm saying? But Nadina said, yep, it is imploding. It's because we as people don't know how to be fellows. It's all ego and financial. I will also say, I don't think that we as a community understand customer service. It is not a conversation that we grow up hearing or talking about. You know what I'm saying? And I said to my friend, I think we are so programmed to recognize when we feel like somebody's being disrespectful and respond to that. But we are not always proactive in offering a good customer service experience or engaging with people in that manner to create that reciprocity of a good experience, right? And so we become combative. We become combative. Sure said, yeah, accurate. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, that person's trying to disrespect me, because the co-founder or the founder or whatever she called herself in that video that I sent you was like, not trying to be disrespectful. And like we always joke, when you say that, normally what's about to come out your mouth is disrespectful, and you know it. You know what I'm saying? And so the way that they're talking to each other, I'm like, why is all this being recorded? Y'all don't know how to pick up the phone or email or privately message somebody and try to set up a conversation. Like, why are y'all showing y'all asses like this? Now, I'm all about, sometimes you got to put people in check. I understand. But if the common goal was for this to be free and everybody work together to educate the people, why is there fighting over somebody doing an event that literally is trying to benefit the people? What it looked like to me, and I could be wrong, but what it looked like to me was jealousy and insecurity. They were mad because she took the initiative to do this thing, and people jumped on board to say, I'll be there. I want to be there. I want to help. I want to donate. I want to support. And it wasn't their idea. You know what I'm saying?
But instead of building on that, because that was me in that situation, and I'd have seen like, oh, okay, all right, yo, we about to move this around. We about to take this city to city. We about to raise some real dough. What's up? You down?
Right.
If you're not, then you're not. But if you are, let's do this.
Let's go. Because I loved her. Jasmine. Her name is Jasmine something. Oh, I can't call her last name. But she's on TikTok. But she broke it down. She was like, I'm not making no money from this. Literally, all the donations and the ticket sales are going into a fund for us to offer scholarships. She's put a board of advisors together so they can vote on the applications. They're setting up a legitimate process to really try to benefit our young people, right? And so, like I said, I'm an outsider. I don't know none of these people. But that's what it looked like to me as I was just trying to piece it together to see what was going on. Y'all mad because she came up with the idea and actually took action. Y'all mad because the people jumped on board and you can't say it was yours. You, instead of saying, love that idea, how can we work together? Thank you for volunteering. Thank you for picking up the mantle. Thank you for capitalizing on this momentum and helping do even more for our people. Y'all mad. How? And then the lady was like, I bought my $20 ticket. I don't understand why it's non-refundable. It's a fucking grant. That's why it's non-refundable. Like, are you... We don't understand basic communication sometimes. Jasmine's Garden. Yes, Jasmine's Garden. Thank you, sure. We are not having these conversations often enough in our families and in our communal experiences. So we get out here and we show our ass, and that's why they can say the things about us that they do. The stereotypes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are not having these conversations enough. And then when we do have the conversation, we're not being accountable to actualize it and put it in process.
Exactly. And see, and that's the thing, because I've been, my whole life I've always been involved in organizations. Like hell, I started out being a Cub Scout and a Boy Scout and things like that. But even in my own family, like we have our family reunion,
Mm-hmm.
but we always donate money to our scholarship programs because within our family we have scholarship programs in our family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So even if if you in school, if you in college and you got the grades, you can apply and we can give you a scholarship. Now, it ain't $50,000.
Yeah,
It
but it
might
makes
be
a difference.
$100, but that could buy a book.
It makes a difference. That might buy them food for a week,
You know what
or
I'm
at least a
saying?
couple of days.
But it's another outlet. So when you have several different outlets where you can get $100 here, $300 there, 200, that all comes together. That helps out, which
Yeah,
means you don't have to take out those loans that's going to be crushing you. You might still have to take out a loan, but it's not going to be crushing you because you don't have to take out as much.
absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just a simple fact when you know people are rocking for you and rooting for you. You know what I'm saying? That sometimes is worth its weight in gold because we need the encouragement. We need the inspiration. We need the motivation. Sure says she invited everyone to come and volunteer their talents. Yeah. So again, this is an opportunity for them to work together and they out here showing their ass again. I even with the whole I've had a couple of people send questions like asking us to talk about the whole conversation happening with the other podcast, tonight's conversation. And I'm like, I have been intentional of not wanting to dive into that because I don't know that I understand enough of what's going on. I see some of it and I've tried to piece a little bit together just for understanding. But again, that was an opportunity for that cast to really help people because they have a large platform. They got a huge fan base. You know what I'm saying? And now it seems like it's imploding. Will they stop? I don't know. But it looks like it's imploding on itself as well. And all these allegations are flying back and forth, and everybody's saying something about this and the other. And it's just like, this is the time when we need to be figuring our shit out, being accountable, stopping our fuck shit, and actually having productive conversation on, like me and my friends, we're like, hey, what seeds you got? What kind of garden you going to start? When you going to put your stuff in the ground? Because we're looking at the price of food. We're looking at what happens as things aren't readily available. We have a phone tree of everybody has contact information, husbands and brothers and sisters and whoever. Somebody one goes down, like we just activated recently when I was down. Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? We need to be having productive conversations of how are we protecting each other? How are we keeping each other safe? How are we pouring into one another? If you got a business, even if I don't have money to give you, I will be your fucking hype person. I will call you every day at 5:00 when I get up and be like, what you did, sis? Hey, you like, this is the time, y'all.
That's what
Matters
we
most.
need. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we need, and that's. I just wish I could figure out the blueprint to bring us together as a people.
Me
I
and you
really do.
both.
I
Me
really
and you
do.
both. But I think we're
'Cause,
operating in the best that we can by talking about things because there's somebody that's going to hear this and hopefully look at something different.
look at something
Every
different.
time we meet, I walk away and think of something differently. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
And that's what I get a lot. Even people that don't engage, they still email and be like, hey, I watch faithfully and catch the replays. And y'all got me thinking. I was talking to the dude about this or my girl about this or whatever. So we're definitely getting people thinking. And I think if nothing else, we have to stay accountable to that. We've started
Oh
this
no,
conversation.
no, trust me, we do because I have in depth conversations with my friends about our shows. And
Mm-hmm.
so I know people are listening and we are saying things that make sense because if it didn't, they wouldn't pay attention. So
Yeah.
it does make sense. But I mean we're organic. We're talking from where we're from. As far
Mm-hmm.
as our place in life, our mental thoughts, our emotional thoughts, and so it resonates with people, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And I implore people just to, whatever your questions are, whatever your thoughts are, just let us know so we could talk
Yeah.
about those things.
Yeah. And just so that you guys know, like some of you guys know, I think, and some don't. Like, we take this to heart. Every episode that we've done, we debrief. So we literally are off screen for like an hour. I know there's been times we've been off screen 2-3 hours later, still talking through stuff, because if we've had an intense conversation, we checking in on each other. We're talking through things that came up, like, what do you mean? Explain that for better context so I can use it. Like, we really take this to heart and hold ourselves accountable to try to hold the standard that we're sharing with you all, but also to continue to internalize it so that we can be better people, right? So with that, I just say, my hope is that anybody that's catching this episode, because this wasn't our normal episode, we weren't as high vibe. One, we both fucking tired and our nervous systems are shot. Like, 2025 has been a lot, right? Everybody going through. Two, we didn't have our comedic relief because, Gypsy be bringing that fire. But hopefully she'll be back with us next week, and hopefully Q and Michael will be able to join us as well. They're on family duty this week, but hopefully they'll be able to join us next week as well. But like I said, we take it to head, we take it to heart, and we talk through it. And my hope is that anybody that sees this episode in particular really sits with it and figures out, what is it bringing up for you, and what can you use, what can you actualize to make a positive change, whether it be in your job situation, your business, your relationship, your friendships, whatever. Because every conversation we have can either break us or make us. So with that, before we close it out, any final thoughts you want to share out there, Sean?
Hey, so I'm crazy, but anyway, hey, look, we just need to talk. We just need to understand each other, and like my man used to say, peace, love, and soul train.
Woo! I feel like that's a perfect closing. Listen, before you click out of here, make sure that you like the video. Make sure that you have subscribed and click that little bell so you know when we go live. And grab that link so that you can share it out with the people that you love. Because if you're not sharing it, do you really love them? I'm just saying. With that, we love you all. Thank you for being tried and true and loyal with us every single week. Mwah! We will see y'all on the flip side, guys.